It was all a plan!
It was all a plan.
The official story is one of history's greatest dramas. One golden apple, 3 jealous goddesses, and 1 foolish mortal prince. The judgment of Paris. An event that led to a phase that launched 1,000 ships, and a brutal, decade-long war that ended with the city of Troy in ashes. For millennia, this has been the accepted narrative, a passionate tragedy sparked by vanity and lust. But what if that story, the one we all know, is a lie? What if the apple wasn't the cause, but merely the trigger? A carefully chosen weapon in a far larger, more sinister game, orchestrated by a puppet master hiding in plain sight. Today, we are not investigating the heroes or the battles. We are investigating the mastermind. We will present the evidence that the true architect behind the entire Trojan War was the king of the gods himself. Zeus, in a cold, calculated plot to reshape the world. To understand this grand conspiracy, we must first understand Zeus's greatest and most private fear, the fear of being overthrown. Just as he had overthrown his own father, Cronus. A powerful prophecy had been foretold by Thetis, the goddess of divine law, that the beautiful sea-nymph Thetis was destined to bear a son who would be far greater and more powerful than his father. For Zeus, this prophecy was an existential threat. He desired Thetis, as did his brother Poseidon. But he could not risk fathering this child himself, nor could he allow any other god to do so. For that would create a potential rival who could one day shatter his rule. His solution was a brutal but politically brilliant one. He had to neutralize Thetis' womb by ensuring she married a mortal man. By doing so, her prophesied son's power would be diluted by a mortal bloodline, making him a great hero, but never a threat to a god. He chose the noble but aging hero, Peleus. But forcing a goddess to marry a mortal against her will was a dangerous act, one that would have cosmic consequences. Zeus knew this, and our evidence suggests he planned for it. The wedding of Peleus and Thetis would become the perfect stage for the next phase of Zeus' grand design. It was the grandest social event of the age, a rare moment of unity between gods and mortals. All the deities of Olympus were invited to celebrate. All, except for one, Eris, the goddess of discord. The official story claims she was forgotten or overlooked. But we must ask the critical detective's question. How could the king of the gods, the master strategist who micromanaged the cosmos, forget to invite the one goddess whose entire purpose is to cause chaos at social gatherings? The evidence suggests this was not an oversight. It was a deliberate, calculated move. Zeus knew exactly what would happen. As predicted, the uninvited and enraged Eris appeared, at the feast. She did not start a fight with swords. She did something far more clever, far more insidious. She rolled a single, solid, golden apple among the guests, bearing the simple, deadly inscription, "For the fairest." This single act was the trigger, a seed of vanity planted in the most fertile ground imaginable. As Zeus had orchestrated, the apple immediately caused a bitter dispute. 3 of the most powerful goddesses, his own wife, Hera, his wisest daughter, Athena, and the goddess of love, Aphrodite, claimed the apple for themselves. Their divine pride ignited. They turned to Zeus to be their judge. But Zeus, the master manipulator, feigned neutrality and theatrical reluctance. He knew that choosing one would make 2 powerful enemies for life. So he passed the buck. He delegated the impossible decision to a mortal pawn, a man he knew would be easily swayed by a goddess's promise and whose judgment would be seen as impartial. Paris, a young prince of Troy, living as a shepherd on Mount Ida. The 3 goddesses appeared before the shepherd prince and offered their bribes. Hera offered him power, rule over all of Asia. Athena offered him wisdom and glorious victory in battle. But Aphrodite offered him the one thing a young man could not refuse: the love of the most beautiful mortal woman in the world, Helen of Sparta, who was already married to a powerful Greek king. Paris inevitably chose Aphrodite. The case seemed closed, but Zeus's plan was now perfectly in motion. He didn't need to choose the winner. He just needed to set up the game so that no matter who won, the outcome would be abduction, a broken treaty, and a justified reason for a great war. And so, the final pieces fell into place. With Aphrodite's divine aid, Paris abducted Helen from Sparta, a catastrophic breach of hospitality and international law. The Greeks, led by Helen's husband Menelaus and his powerful brother Agamemnon, assembled a massive army to reclaim her and their honor. The Trojan War began. But why would Zeus orchestrate such a devastating conflict? The answer, according to some ancient and often overlooked sources, is as cold as it is logical. The earth, Gaia, was groaning under the weight of an overpopulated world. A world filled with a generation of powerful, arrogant, and semi-divine heroes, the numerous offspring of the gods and mortals. They were becoming too powerful, too numerous. The Trojan War was Zeus's brutal, brilliant solution. It was a great culling, a cosmic purge, meticulously designed to wipe out an entire generation of heroes on both sides: Achilles, Hector, Ajax, and countless others. It was a way to re-establish the dominance of the pure-blooded gods and ease the burden on the earth, all while appearing to be a simple war over a woman. The evidence has been presented. The judgment of Paris was not about a beauty contest. It was the carefully planned trigger for a world war. The abduction of Helen was not an act of love, but the casus belli that Zeus needed. The entire Trojan War, with its legendary heroes and tragic deaths, was a grand cosmic chess game, orchestrated from the peaks of Olympus by a paranoid king who saw his own superpowered children and their offspring as a threat to his eternal rule. The story of Troy is not a romance. It is the story of Zeus's perfect crime, a masterpiece of manipulation, where he used the vanity of goddesses, the lust of a prince, and the honor of kings as his pawns, all to achieve his own cold political objective, a great culling to maintain his own absolute power. So, what is your verdict? Was Zeus a wise king trying to maintain cosmic balance, or a ruthless tyrant who started a war just to eliminate the competition? Let us know your thoughts